Okay, so we've had my top 5 most disappointing, my top 5 most surprising. Next up, I'm going to look at my worst. These are the pieces that I really just don't particularly like. And I will say now, this top 5 more than any of the others was actually the most difficult. Because although there's faults in pretty much all of them, there's something you could look at and say, well, that's not right and that's not right. To actually say that something is bad, or the worst piece on there, or the fourth worst piece on there, was really difficult. And although there are 5 pieces that I've narrowed it down to and say that these are not my particular favourites, I think worst is maybe a bit harsh. However, these are the top 5 that I don't really particularly like. At number 5, Black Canary. A lot of you might be surprised at the fact that I put Black Canary in my 5th worst piece. The figure itself was fantastic, the detailing throughout was really good, a few issues with the face, but overall really nice. So why is this my 5th worst piece? I'm going to come in close to show you. That base is easily one of the worst things I have ever seen. I said in the review, and I'll say again, it just basically looks like they took some silver paint and threw it over that base. And like Commissioner Gordon being upside down, this is the only one that looks like this, and it just stands out. But it doesn't stand out in a good way. You know, it takes a piece that could really be a really nice one, just a really nice standout character on there, and it just looks terrible. It's just a really bad paint application on that, which really puts me off this piece and really makes me just, it disappoints, and it's also a bad one. Number 4, The Dark Knight Returns Special Edition. Okay, so here we have one that was in the disappointing section and is also in the worst section. Although I found it hard to put this one in here, I still had to look at the fact that not only was I disappointed with this, I didn't really like it. And I suppose to say that I didn't really like it is maybe a bit far, but I didn't like it as much as I hoped I would. And although I said in the review that yes, when I got this whole set I would play chess with it, and I have on a couple of occasions, I've yet to use these pieces, which pretty much stands out for it. I prefer the original Batman and Joker pieces compared to these ones, which really should be better by all accounts. There's just something about them that really puts me off and really lets me down. It's disappointing, but top 4 worst. Number 3, Catwoman. Who can forget the Catwoman review in which I constantly refer to the fact that her face looked like a small girl? It was the most creepy thing about it that just really put me off the piece, which overall wasn't all that bad. However, as I said in the review, and I still believe to this day, this piece is a really nice sculpt. The way she's posed, the way she stood, and everything about her just looks fantastic. But when you get in close to that face and you really look at it, it just doesn't fit, and it lets it down on such a huge scale. This isn't one of your usual chess collection pieces where the face is a little bit off, but it doesn't really put it, it doesn't really spoil the piece. On this one, the face lets down a really good piece, and it's just such a shame. And had this not been the Queen, I think I would have gone a little bit lighter on it. But it's one of the most powerful pieces on the board, and it just doesn't stand up. Number 2, Man-Bat. Again, another repeat from the disappointing line. Man-Bat was always one that I just couldn't quite get my head around. When I first got this one, I really didn't like it, and then I did, and then I didn't. And that continues on to this day. Right now, I look at this and I just really dislike it. And I just think that you could have done so much more with this. And it's just, it's a letdown, and the bronze colouring on it's just, one day I like it, the next day I don't. It makes it look like a statue, to be honest. And as I say, it's been a long time since I've done this review, and I can't quite remember what I said. I don't remember if I said I liked the colour. I remember that when I first got it, I didn't, and then I kind of grew to it, and now I've gone off it again. And for all those reasons, and my inability to decide whether I like it or not, it's a bad piece. If it's making you do that, it's a bad piece for me, because I can't quite decide whether I like it or not. However, I'm also going by my wife's recommendations. So this is number 2 worst. And my number 1 worst piece of the DC Chess Collection line, Ventriloquist. No big surprise, I think, even throughout the disappointing review, the disappointing line. I mentioned so many times I even let it slip, it was my worst. But I didn't bother re-recording that because I think it makes it's completely apparent as to how much I really, really hate this piece. It's, again, along with the disappointing, where I said it was easy to pick up this piece and say it was my most disappointing, it was also the most easy one to pick up and say it was my worst. I just dislike it so much. The face on Scarface, the way Chester looks, just everything about it, just, it lets down a fantastic character. Boo hiss. And so here we come to the most anticipated one, I guess. The 5 best pieces. These are the pieces that, after looking at and looking through the board, I've decided are my personal 5 favourites. As with this whole video, everything on here is my personal opinion. You may completely disagree with what I'm saying. You may completely agree. You may think that Ventriloquist is one of the best pieces on the board. Hey, good for you. But these are all my opinions. In my opinion, all of these pieces, for different particular reasons, are in this list. I would love to hear, though, what you guys think, what you all think, what you've thought of the collection as a whole, what you've thought about it all. Are you pleased with what you've got? Are you pleased with the pieces? What are your top 5 favourites, top 5 worst? I'd love to hear your views, and as always, you've always given me some really good comments that I've really enjoyed reading, and I know that this time is one time you will not disappoint, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you guys think as well. But before you do that, just take a couple more minutes to listen to my top 5 best pieces of the DC Chess collection. And at number 5, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was easily one of those ones that I was really excited to get. And when she finally came along, she didn't really disappoint. There were a couple of problems with the sculpt on her face. Her mask was a bit off, her eyes were a bit off. But as we learnt throughout the line, that was a common thread. But who can't love Harley Quinn? Harleen Quinzel, the queen. If Joker is the prince clown of crime, she is the princess clown of crime, easily. She is just such an awesome character, and for her origins, it's a late night. And for her origins, both in the real world and on the DC world, just a fantastic character, fantastic piece. So much fun. I had so much fun making this video as well, with all those little clips inside of it. I actually was very much spoilt for choice as to what I was going to use for her, and I had to cut back an original video which had lots of clips to the ones that you saw. That wasn't easy. That for me makes her one of the greatest characters. I just love the Harley Quinn character. And the piece itself really represents her very well. Sure, it's got some flaws, it's got some problems with the eyes, with the mask and things like that, but it's just got so much character. I still adore the fact that the wing on this angel has been broken and her face has got that shocked look, and she's just there with a mallet smiling. You know what's happened. She's broken that angel's wing, and that is just genius. And for that, it made it the top 5 of my favourite pieces. At number 4, the Joker. Where Harley Quinn is, you can be sure that her little pudding is not too far behind. The Joker, the clown prince of crime, the absolute most incredible character in the whole of the Batman universe. And with that, we got a really awesome piece. And it was a piece that, as I looked over this board and decided which were my favourites, I think got a little bit overlooked. I mean, at the end of the day, he sometimes can, as amazing as it seems for me, can like blend into the background when you're trying to look at, oh, is Scarecrow a really good piece, or is Bane a really good piece, or is Poison Ivy a really good piece? This is a really great piece. It captures the Joker's character so well, so flamboyant, the way he's leaning forward. And for me, the fact that he's holding on to 3 cards which have that intricate detail of the Joker faces on them, it's a really amazing piece. I love as well the fact his hair is fluorescent bright green. Just adds to that sparkle of the character. Yep, the eyes were a bit wrong, and the right eye was a little bit closer to the left one and things like that. It wasn't perfect, there's definitely no question about it. But aside from that, this is just a piece that you'll always look at and you just think, if this guy wasn't on the board, it wouldn't be a Batman versus the villains piece. It just wouldn't. You can't have Batman without his archenemy, the Joker. Number 4. Number 3. Batman. Okay, so I guess a lot of you may have been expecting this one to come along. I've said it time and time again that if it wasn't for Batman, I wouldn't be collecting these pieces, so it kind of makes sense he'd be in my top 5 best. Just like the fact he was in my surprising ones, and the fact that I was so surprised by the fact that it was a whole set dedicated to Batman. The piece itself doesn't let me down, and I still look at this and think it's a fantastic representation. And I think one of the biggest things about it is the fact that the cape and the way it flows down around the base itself is just a stroke of genius. This piece is just a really good representation of Batman, and I'll be honest, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be stood here talking to you right now, because I would not have this set. Always going to be one of my favourites, and the piece just represents, just like Joker and just like Harley Quinn, represents an iconic character so well. Yeah, and it's got flaws. I think all of them have got flaws though, and you can't really hold up a piece that is so good just by the fact that there's a paint smudge here, a paint smudge there. There are pieces like Catwoman, like Ventriloquist as well, that are let down across the board through paint smudges and bad design. But this one is a fantastic piece. And the smudges, as I've always said, just shows to that whole hand-painted feel and just makes it a really cool piece. Number 4. 3. 3. Not 4. 3. Number 2. Commissioner Gordon. I said it in my surprising, and I'll say it again. A piece that really blew me away by the detail that you had on there. Like I said in my surprising one, just the amount of detail, the amount of flow that we have in this one, the amount of kind of character that we have, just really makes this a standout piece. And again, like I said in my Commissioner Gordon review, the fact that it's a pawn, just one at the front, and surrounded by so much colourful and bright characters, and yet it still stands out so well. That makes it an incredible piece. And I will be honest and say this would have made number 1 had it not been for the base being the wrong way around. It bugs me that much, it really does. But a fantastic piece, and well deserving, I think, of the number 2 spot. But what could beat this to the number 1 spot? I wonder. And so, my favourite piece of the whole DC Chess collection, the one piece out of all of them that stands out to me, and this guy. And I think no surprise here at all either. I said in my review, and I've said time and time again, my favourite piece. And I think from that a lot of people will not be surprised by my choice for this one. The detail on the face, the chains on the arm, the rips in the back of the shirt. I don't quite know what it is about this that really blew me away. Just everything on it, so simple and yet so effective, beautifully capturing the character of Killer Croc. The fact that it's surrounded by so many characters that I like, Batman, Joker, Harley Quinn, Penguin, and this guy can come out and just really, really grab me and just make me think that is just such an exceptional piece, so well detailed and so well painted. It became my all-time favourite piece on this entire board, and it remains that way to this day. And so there we have it, my top 5 most favourite, worst, most surprising, most disappointing. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a long time coming, and I hope it's been entertaining. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope some of them have surprised you, and I know some of them you'll have been expecting from the moment you watched some of my videos. However, saying that, I just wanted to really bring this video together just to show that this is such an amazing collection. It's one of the things I've collected that I've enjoyed so much across the board, pun intended, and I've really enjoyed collecting these pieces, and the chessboard being full is just such an amazing sight and something I really enjoy seeing every single day. There are some honourable mentions in there that I'd like to bring out there. Penguin, Riddler, I'm just looking across the board now, Batgirl, Azrael, really, really nice piece. Some of them in there that are really, really hard to choose by. Some of them in there that almost made the grade but just didn't for different reasons. I could stand here for a long time and tell you why I didn't put ones in over other ones and why I put the ones in that I did, but let's just leave it as it is. This whole collection, for good or for bad, was a lot of fun to collect and a lot of fun to review, and I've really enjoyed sharing this with you guys. This isn't a goodbye by any stretch. I do intend to bring you some more videos, and there is a new line which I am going to be bringing to you very soon, so stay tuned for that one. But until then, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, as I hope you've enjoyed all the reviews I brought out. But until then, take care. I'll see you soon.
That's all, folks. Let's